Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Keta here, and today we will be covering the second part of my How Powerful Are Avatar Characters series, and today we will be covering the main antagonist of Book 1 Avatar, Prince Zuko. Now, Zuko is a very interesting character to cover because unlike a character like, say, Toph Beifong, who always fights their best and slowly gets power-ups throughout the entire series like metal bending, Zuko fights very inconsistently in most regards. To show you this, in all of Avatar, Zuko is really seen training once in the entire series, and that's in Book 2 when Iroh is teaching Zuko how to create lightning. Throughout all of Book 1 Avatar, Zuko is seen doing firebending on a very small scale, and then fast forward to Book 2 when Zuko is seen creating fire whips and fire blasts that pretty much make Book 1 Zuko look like complete fodder. And it's not that Zuko is training and we just don't see it throughout the entire series, because throughout all of Book 1 Avatar especially, we constantly see the camera off of Team Avatar and on the Fire Nation, and in particular Zuko. Zuko gets the most screen time in Book 1 aside from Book 3 when he joins Team Avatar. I mean, if you ask me, I would say the only possible explanation for this would be plot, because realistically it'd be a very hard time to make Aang, who only knows airbending, a Katara that only knows waterbending, and a Boomerang Boy fight off against a firebending master with a full army at his command, and on top of that has anger issues. Even with this obstacle of Zuko slowly getting stronger with no explanation, I'm going to cover this video to the best of my abilities. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and enjoy How Strong is Zuko. Now, to dive into the history we know about Zuko, we know that when he was 12 years old, he constantly had a rivalry with his little sister Azula, who was 10 at the time. Azula was a firebending prodigy. While Zuko struggled with the very basics of firebending techniques, Zuko would be very close with his mother, and Zuko would be very distant with his father. Azula would be very distant with her mother and be very close with her father, as her father bred her for war and Zuko was bred by his mother for love. Zuko and Azula's mother would later get banished by the Fire Nation, where Zuko would be eternally scarred from this situation. Zuko would then speak out of turn at a war meeting, where as a consequence for this, Zuko would have to fight in an Agni Kai against his own father, where he would be scarred on his left eye. Soon after, Zuko would be banished from the Fire Nation, and let me add, this Zuko is literally just 12 years old. Now, one thing that made Avatar The Last Airbender such a good show was that the art of bending could be found in the real world, as every bending is based off of a martial arts. With this in mind, we can come to the conclusion that a Zuko that was banished at 12 years old and sent to retrieve the Avatar, and that in Book 1 was 16 and has 4 years of nothing to do but searching and training, has mastered firebending. This by definition means Zuko is a master of Northern Shaolin Kung Fu, the fighting style that firebending is based on. Something that supports that Zuko is a master of this form of martial arts is that in Book 1 we see Zuko do the most hand-to-hand combat of firebending. And again, that's not to say that we don't see Zuko using any range attacks in Book 1, but the majority of Book 1 Zuko, we see him doing a lot of close range attacks to his opponents. For instance, Zuko is seen defeating General Zhao in a close combat Agni Kai, and then he also defeats him again in another close combat fight at the Northern Water Tribe. Now, the Avatar community estimates that General Zhao is an estimated 40 years old, which would make him 100% a master at firebender. Also, he's a general, so it's kind of his job. And we clearly see a 16-year-old Zuko beats him with little to no difficulty. But even with all of this, Book 1 Zuko is 100% the weakest Zuko we see in the entire series, constantly being beaten by Aang that only knows airbending for the most part. For the sake of the video, Book 1 Zuko's power level for reference will be a 6 out of 10, so let's now move on to Book 2 Zuko. Now, you the audience should expect to see characters grow stronger over a series, but there is no questioning that there was a huge skill jump from Zuko in Book 1 to Zuko in Book 2. Like, his skills in all aspects just got way better, from hand-to-hand combat to long-range attacks. In Book 2, we can see Zuko using a lot more ranged firebending, like creating fire whips and giant fireballs. Also, on top of that, we see him using bigger firebending feats, and we also see him doing even better close combat feats, with the addition of what is one of his best weapons in his arsenal, his swords. In Book 2, we find out that Zuko is a master swordsman and has dual-wield swords. People actually speculate that Zuko became a master swordsman at the young age of 12, because Zuko was so bad at firebending it would have made sense for him to pick up swords. Also, while Zuko was invading the Earth Kingdom, he sent Zuko a dagger as a gift. Also, besides Zuko just being a master at dual-wielding swords, he can also firebend through his swords. Later in Book 2, Zuko gets a small hacks ability of redirecting lightning, but this won't have any effect until Book 3. Zuko would honestly be on another level of power if he ever learned how to create his own lightning for himself, but this would sadly never happen. Even in the Avatar comics shown in the future of the Avatar world by 2 years, Zuko still does not know how to create lightning. While we're on the subject of lightning bending, I want to clear up a very stupid misconception in the Avatar community, and that's that lightning bending, lava bending, metal bending, and sand bending are all different elements, and that is just a very laughable statement. I 100% without a doubt blame the Legend of Korra for this confusion. If I were to rate Book 2 Zuko's power level out of 10, it would be a 8 out of 10. Now moving on to the final version of Zuko, I will be covering Book 3 Zuko. I will not be covering the Zuko from the Legend of Korra because he's out of his prime and literally does basically nothing. And I will not be covering the Zuko from the Avatar comics because the Avatar comics are mainly story driven and not very focused on actual fights. Now Book 3 Zuko gets 3 big power-ups. The first power-up Zuko gets is he just basically gets better at firebending for plot reasons and to help build up tension. Zuko, when losing his ability to firebend, regains his ability to firebend after dancing with the Sun Warriors and basically says now his firebending is even stronger than it was before. And lastly, when Sojin's comet arrives, all firebenders get a firebending enhancement, with Ozai getting the biggest enhancement of them all, because he kind of absorbed all of the comet. Also in Book 3 is when Zuko is seen redirecting lightning for the first time. Zuko sees, reacts, then redirects his dad's lightning. Now to sum up quickly, lightning in the real world moves at about 220 million miles per hour, which if highballing Zuko and believing that lightning firebenders create actually moves at that speed, would make Zuko a lightning timer or move at about Mach 300. Now I want you to listen to me very carefully. If you are highballing Zuko to the absolute most, someone could make a good argument that by the Legend of Korra, some characters in Avatar are actually hypersonic, and Zuko, being relative to those characters, would be hypersonic, but I'm not going to go to that assumption, mainly because that is just headcanon. Book 3 Zuko does not use his swords, which honestly is a bummer because they were such a good asset to him and he could have really used them to change the flow of a battle. To give Book 3 Zuko a power level out of 10 compared to other firebenders, it would be a 9 out of 10. Now the Zuko we can pinpoint as his prime is Book 3 Zuko. To compare Zuko to other characters, I would say Zuko is the 3rd strongest firebender in the series, right behind Ozai and Azula. And I can say with confidence Zuko is the strongest person in Team Avatar, only behind Aang. And to help support this argument, all firebenders get a 2 times power bonus when fighting during the day, as stated by Zuko in Book 1. Let's say after Zuko danced with dragons, he got another 2 times bonus in power level. And I'm going to lowball and say Sojin's comet only gave Zuko and Azula a 2 times power bonus because Ozai absorbed most of it. At this point in time, Zuko's firebending is on a whole nother level. If you gave Book 3 Zuko his dual-wield blades, I would bump him up and say he is the 2nd strongest firebender in the series, surpassing Azula. I hope this gave you guys a good answer. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content. And until next time, guys, bye.
Man, I've been fearless, I let him feel this. You know I spit it, no cap when I kill this. I'm better hit him with the rest, let him hear this. Where this war tour better be a field trip. Yeah, sack it up and then I double it. No time for mumbling, show him where trouble is. Been on my team, plotting my things, living my dreams. Yeah, it's obscene. Word around here been